Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and this is another video in our Go series, and here we're going to be focusing on flow control. So we kind of know how to assign variables, and great. Now what we want to do is talk about controlling the flow of how things happen. So for example, we'll always start out with an if statement. The cool thing about Go is that you don't have to have the parentheses around your expressions when you're doing ifs and loops. So I can just do this. If true, okay, and true is always going to be true, then this will happen. Okay, and else, this will happen. So then what I will do here is I'll say, hey, print, this is true. Okay, a second. It's complaining about the quotation marks again because it thinks it's a rune. Okay, and then print this. This is false. Okay, so we have that saved. We can run the file. This is true, because true is true. And see, I didn't have to have a parentheses around true. And I can say this is false. Okay, and run that. And instead I'm going to get what happens in else, because that's what happens if it's not true. So if this expression here is true, and it can be any kind of expression, so I can be like, is 5 greater than 6? Well, 5 is not greater than 6, so that's going to resolve as false. And see, this is false. Okay, I could then change that to less than 6. Okay, which would be true. This is true. Okay, so you can decide what code you have happen based on the expression. So that's the great thing about if statements. Allows you to say, hey, if this is true, do this. If this is false, do that. Okay, nice. Now, one of my favorite things about Go is there's no while loops. Yay! Other languages like Python and Ruby, what they do is they do the opposite. They get rid of the three-part for loop, and you stick with the while loop. I like this approach better, where basically you can get more mileage out of your for loop, and your for loop does everything. So instead, you could do a traditional three-part for loop, which would be like this. For, then what you do is the first part declares a variable, so we'll say for x equals 0. Okay, semicolon, long as x is less than 10. And at the end of each loop, x gets incremented. Okay. And then we'll just print whatever x is. Okay, so this is sort of your traditional for loop. And see, no parentheses, which is nice. See, it prints out the 9 numbers. Okay, so x starts out at 0, and then each time it gets 1 added to 1, and it keeps doing this until x hits 10. So it just loops over and over again. So what if you wanted to do like a while loop, where you just have an expression? Basically, the only thing that's required here is the middle part. So if you wanted to do something like your traditional while loop, you just get rid of the 2 other parts. Okay, and there you go. So then I can just do something like this. If so, x equals 0, and then after each print, I'll just do x plus plus, and now it's like a while loop. Okay. And it works. Okay, so that's cool. So you don't need to have this other type of loop. You have some flexibility with your for loop, which is nice. And which is also nice is you have switch statements, because like Python does not have switch statements, which makes me sad. Or at least not natively. So the way switch statement works is you have switch, then you have a variable that's being checked. So let's say x equals 1 or equals 2. Okay. X equals 2. So we're going to say switch x. So x is our variable. And then we can define all our cases. So if the case is 1, so that means if x equals 1, then we will print 1. If case equals 2, and I want to line that up better. There we go. Thank you. Then we would just print 2. And we can do a default case. Default. And that will just be like print none of the above. Okay. And again, let me just change these quotation marks. Okay. Let's run the thing. Okay, and see it prints 2 because x is 2. Now if I make x 4, there's no case for 4. None of the above, because it meets none of the above cases, so it hits the default case. Switch is really useful when you're making like a menu and you sit there and you say put like, you want to put like a letter depending on what they select. So like Q for quit, A for attack. And you can just run through all these possibilities. Okay, so those are your main pieces of control flow tools. If else, for loops, and switch statements for controlling sort of like what direction does your code go through, what things happen conditionally. They're pretty straightforward to use. And again, the best thing is no parentheses around the expression parts, which is nice. Aside from that, that's kind of what I wanted to cover in this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.